Hello everyone, I'm Alicia. So my most viewed video to date is this bracelet, my 5-row wrap bracelet. I have over 500,000 views on this bracelet tutorial thanks to you guys. So in celebration of that many views on this bracelet, I'm going to show you how to make a new wrap bracelet. And to me, this new design is a lot fancier compared to the other one because the top is embellished. And I'm going to tell you more about the beads that I used in these three here. But before I do, there is one important tool that you're going to need to make this wrap bracelet, just like you needed to make the 5-row and the 3-row bracelet. And that tool is my wooden bead loom. Now, if you don't already have one of these made, I have a video that is called How to Make a Bead Loom. And in that video, I explain how I made this loom, which is really easy to do. I will leave a link for the video, How to Make a Bead Loom, in the description bar below this video. So look down there and you'll see the link for this. And once you have this loom made, you will be able to make the 5-row, 3-row bracelet and the fancy wrap bracelets here. So go and check that video out, How to Make a Bead Loom, and once you have your loom ready, you'll be able to make these bracelets. Here is the list of materials you will need to make these bracelets. You're going to need 6 feet of 10-pound fireline. Now, I only have 10-pound in the original, which is smoke, which is black. And for this bracelet, I needed 10-pound in the crystal, and I didn't have it. So I just used the 8-pound fireline, and it was terrible. Because the thread is thinner, it made the beads not sit together right, and the bracelet seemed loose, and it was so irritating. It wasn't working out. So what I did is I just finished the bracelet in the 8-pound, and then I cut an extra 5 feet of thread, and I went back through the entire bracelet and reinforced it, and that's how I got it to work out for me. So I recommend for you guys, if you're planning on making more than one of these bracelets, to buy the 10-pound fireline, because it works way better than the 8-pound, and it'll save you all that headache of having to cut extra thread and go back and reinforce the bracelet, because it's like I made 2 bracelets, but there's only one sitting here, so it was just really irritating. So again, buy the 10-pound. It works a lot better. Now you're also going to need 26 inches of 1mm cord or smaller. You can use cotton cord, wax cotton, leather cord, whatever you want. The most important thing is that the 6OC beads slide over your cord. So you need the cord small enough that you can slide 6OC beads onto it. You're also going to need clear nail polish, and this is just to seal the cotton cord. You won't need it for the wax cotton cord because of the wax on it. When you tie the knots, it kind of keeps the knots, in place. They don't come undone. But for the unwaxed cotton cord, it frays, so you will have to seal the ends and roll it in your fingers so when it hardens, it's stiff enough that you can put on the 6OC beads without them fraying. Now you're also going to need a size 10 beading needle, which is right here, a button or 2 buttons. You can stack them if you like I did here. You can use a shank button like I did in this bracelet. You can use a 2-hole button, 4-hole button, whatever you want. You're also going to need 11/0 seed beads, which are right here. You're also going to need 6mm beads. Now the amount you will need can vary depending on the length you want your bracelet to be, the size of your button, and the shape of your beads. So for example, the first bracelet I made is right here, and I used fire polished heavy metal mix. I don't know if you remember or not, or saw. In my last video I showed these beads that I got for 11 cents. I used them in this bracelet. Now, the fire polished beads aren't perfectly round. They're actually an oval shape. So in this bracelet I used 27 6mm fire polished beads. So when I went to make this one, I thought, oh, I'm just going to need 27 beads, right? Because they are 6mm beads. Now the beads aren't lying hole to hole like I'm stringing them. They are stacking side by side in a row. So when I put this together and I laid it beside this bracelet, I realized that this one was a lot longer, so I had to take beads out. So this one has 27 fire polish beads, and this one has 23 6mm glass beads. So now when I lay them side by side, the beaded section is exactly the same, but this one actually has 4 more 6mm beads. Now in this bracelet I used rondelles, which are kind of flat from hole to hole. It's kind of squished, and then the side of the bead is really wide, so it's narrow from hole to hole, and then the bead is really wide. So with this bracelet, after I went through that, I knew that I was going to have to use less. But with this one, I'm using a much smaller button. And these two buttons here are kind of the same size. So I'm using a smaller button with this bracelet, so I knew I would have to use more beads. So when I put this next to here, you could see that the beaded section is longer, but that's because my button is so small. Now if my button was the same size as these, I would do 2 less. So in the pink bracelet, I actually have 24 6mm beads. Now all of my bracelets are 8 inches long, and if you're going to be doing a 7.5 inch bracelet, you're going to need less beads than I'm using. So I'm estimated that you're going to need at least 21 to 27 beads, 6mm beads. So measure when you get further down your bracelet. Just take the ruler on your loom and measure it to see how long it's getting, and there will be a point where you want to take it off because you think it might be there, and just wrap it around your wrist to see if it'll fit you. And so again, that is the 6mm beads. You're going to need 21 to 27 beads, and again, it depends on the size of the bracelet you're making, the shape of the beads, and how large your button is going to be. I hope all of that made sense. You're also going to need 6/0 seed beads, and you're going to need 40 to 52 6/0 seed beads. So this is all the materials, and remember, I always put the list of materials in the description bar below all my videos so you can see everything down there in writing, and also I put links down there to my Facebook page and other stuff for this video. So the first thing we have to do is put our button on our cord, which is really easy. Slide it on, put your ends together, and bring the button down to the very center of your cord. Now we're going to tie a knot right here. And I'm just going to go like this. Bring the button through this loop. Pull the knot up. Now you do want to leave a little loop right here so we can hook our bracelet onto our loom. So just like this, and make sure that it goes on your loom. Right here is where it's going to be, and it fits perfectly. So now we have to seal the ends of our cord with clear nail polish. So I already have this one sealed here, and I'm just going to do this one. And I'm just going to get a little bit of nail polish and put it on the end. Do like 1/2 inch of the nail polish onto your cord. Okay, that should be good. Now I like to roll the end in my fingers, because if there's already any fraying, this will bond the cord together, and it also makes the fibers tighter and more compact. Okay, so let this harden, and when it's dry, we'll be able to put our 6/0 seed beads onto the ends a lot easier. So now that my ends are dry, I'm just going to put the 6/0 seed beads onto the cord, and you want to do the same amount on each side. So if you're doing like 40 6/0 seed beads, you want like 20 on each cord. and depending on how it goes, you might have to add more or take some off when you get to the down to the point we're going to start embellishing it. So keep going doing this, putting your 6/0 seed beads on your cord on both sides. Make sure you do both. And then when you get done, I'll show you how to attach this to your loom. I finished putting my beads on, and now I'm just going to put this onto my loom. So slide this over that little hook. Bring this down. Keep these cords straight. Slide your beads down. Make sure none of them fall off. Come down here, and I'm just going to tie a knot around the screw. Overhand knot like this. Just like this, and pull it really tight. You do want a gap between them, just like that. Feel the tension on your cords. It's a nice tension. So I'm going to tie another knot. Just going to go over and under, and instead of tying it this way, I'm going to tie it this way on the screw. Just like this. And don't tie the second knot really tight, because it will be kind of hard to get it undone. If you want to get this undone later on so you can try it on, you can use tweezers to pick it open. So I'm going to leave these beads down here because I'm going to tie on my fireline up here, and as I need these beads, I will slide them up 2 at a time after I add 6mm beads. So now I have to get my mat ready with my 6mm bead. So now I'm going to show you how to tie on the fireline. You want to tie the fireline onto the left cord. So I'm just going to take my fireline under this cord, and I'm going to do overhand knot like this. Bring it down. Don't pull it real tight. You want to measure your tail. We need to have a 12-inch tail. So I have to pull this string, and it's going to make it shorter. A little bit more. Okay, so here's my 12-inch tail. Now I'm going to slide this up. I want my knot to be like 1/4 of an inch from the knot, the cord knot. So right here. Now I'm going to finish tying my knot. We're going to use that extra foot of thread to reinforce the bracelet, to the end of the bracelet. And, make it more secure. So I'm going to do a surgeon's knot. So wrap under once and twice and pull it down. I'm going to take this thread, go back under this bracelet, so this earth cord, so this thread is actually going to be wrapped around here twice, and tie another surgeon's knot. 1 time, 2 times, and bring it down. Just like this. Okay, looks like it's in the right place. Pull it tight. And now pull your tail thread over here out of the way. So now we are ready to work with our 6mm beads. So my working needle, whole string, tails are up there, is on this side, and I need it to be on my right side. So I have to take my needle and go under this cord, because when we add our beads, we're going to be pressing them up from the bottom through the top, and then we're going to pass over the top of the cords. So I'm going to pick up 1 6mm bead and slide it down. And it helps when you're working with a lot of thread to put your needle through like 1.5 feet of the thread. You can see right here's my other tail, because it makes it shorter and easy to work with. And then when your tail is getting closer to your work, you just pull the needle further down towards your tail. Okay, so I picked up my bead, and I'm going to put this underneath here. So you can see my thread is here. My cord is over top of my thread, and I'm going to go through the bead like this. Pull it through, just like this, and pull it tight. Zoom in a little bit better. And this is what it looks like. You do want to work with the loom at an angle in front of you, because when it's straight you can't really see what's going on that well. So now that I have my first bead in, I'm going to slide up 2 6/0 seed beads, just like that. I'm going to take my needle under the cords and pick up another bead and slide it down. Now this thread is going to wrap behind this 6/0 seed bead. I'm going to lift this up through the top and put my needle through this bead and pull it, and my thread's getting wrapped around here. It helps when you do have your finger in this loop here to pull it tighter, and you may notice that this little thread, it's kind of hard to see, this little thread right in here, it might get stuck on the side of your 6/0 seed bead. You need to make sure that it is coming through the middle right here, so it's not being shown. So pull it up, and when you lift this up, I realize that it does help with that problem. So pull it tight like this, and now we're ready to add another bead. So once that's over there, I'm going to pull the thread this way, and I'm going to slide up 2 more seed beads, just like this. I'm going to take my needle, go under my bracelet, and pick up another 6mm bead and slide it down. So push this bead up through the center of these 2 cords and pass through it. You want to hold this loop here with your finger and pull it tight, and right here you can see this little thread is trying to hang on to the outside. So this thread needs to go on the inside, just like this. There it is. When you pull this straight up, it really does help it. So make sure that you have your 6/0 seed beads in between. Pull it tight, just like this. Slide that up. Now I'm going to slide 2 6/0 seed beads up, and this thread is going to go between them. Put my needle under my loom, pick up a new bead, slide it down, make sure the thread's between those, push this up, go through it, pull it tight. Now you really can't see it that well with these beads, but with the oval ones, the beads are actually sitting at a slight angle. They're all going like this. So in this one here, you could see it. This is the back of the bracelet. They're all like this at an angle. Now in the regular wrap bracelets, they're all going straight like this, stacked beside each other. But because of the 6/0 seed beads that we're adding, it's making them sit at an angle. You can also see it in this bracelet. They are sitting at a slight angle. Okay, so pull this tight. Now I have to slide 2 more seed beads up. And again, this thread is going to sit between these 2. Pick up a new 6mm round, slide it down, and push it up between these 2 cords. Just like this. Pull it tight. Lift this string up here so it makes the thread below sit in the right spot. And then put this thread here because we're going to slide up 2 more seed beads, and the thread is going to sit between these 2 seed beads. pass my needle underneath, pick up another 6mm and slide it down. Bring this up through the bottom, go through it, and pull it tight. Pull it up again, make sure that your thread is right here, because this is the most trickiest part, is making sure that this thread isn't hugging around the seed bead. And then put the thread here and bring up your 2 seed beads. So there's going to be 2 seed beads between all of these 6mm beads. Again, pick up another 6mm bead, bring it down, push it up and go through it. Just like this. Pull it tight. My thread's in the right spot. So I'm going to put this thread here, slide my loom up just a little bit, and bring up 2 more seed beads. This thread has to stay between these 2. Slide this underneath, pick up another, and slide it down. So I'm just going to do this a couple more times to make sure you have the hang of it. So this thread again is staying between these 2. I'm going to press this up and go through it. Put your finger in this loop and make sure the bead is sitting in the right spot. Pull this up because of that little thread down there. Okay, now I'm going to bring this thread down and I'm going to bring up 2 seed beads. I'm going to pick up another round bead, slide it down, just like this. Make sure that this stays between here and not goes around that bead. So between there, slide this down, lift it up between these cords, and pull your thread through. Make sure your seed beads stay in between the orange beads, or your 6mm beads. You're probably not using orange. Pull this tight. One more time. Bring up 2 more seed beads. Make sure this thread is between these 2. I'm going to pick up another 6mm round, slide it down, lift this up through the middle, and go through it. Just like this. Lift it up here to make sure you can see that thread. Remember to do that, it's very important. Just like that. Now bring this thread down and slide 2 more up. So keep on going, doing this, and measure it when you get like 4 inches or so, and just see, you know, how long it is. Well, of course you're not going to know it's 4 inches until you measure, but you know what I mean. You just want to pay attention to how long it is, because you don't want to go too long and have to take it apart like I've had to do, and you just want it to be the right size for you, and you don't really know how long it's going to be because of the button. That again is a factor of how long it's going to be. If it's a large button, you're going to have to make a large hole, which this is the hole, which will make your bracelet longer. But the pink one, I had to make a small hole because the button was so small. So keep going, and when you get to the end, I'll show you what to do next. So I kept on going, and this is what my bracelet looks like. I ended it the same way I started, with a 6mm bead. You don't want to end with the 60 seed beads because they won't stay in place. So this is what it looks like. So now what I have to do is reinforce this part right here. So you can see that this is my working string right here. Pull it tight. I'm going to put it over here again. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to pass it through the bottom this time. just like this. Make sure that it's coming out the bottom on this side. And we're just gonna reinforce this area down here so it's nice and strong and it stays in place. So that's one time around, pull it tight. Now I'm gonna go again, so through the top and out the top over here. Now I'm gonna go back down the bottom hole, just like this, pull it through. I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to go through the top hole again. Then I'm going to go through the bottom hole. And instead of coming up through the top, or through the bottom, I want to come up through the top. So I'm going in at the bottom hole, and I'm coming up through the top. So we need our seed beads to be picked up on the right side of the bracelet, and then they're going to go into the left side of the next 6mm bead, zigzagging all the way back up the bracelet. So through the bottom, out through the top, and now we are in position to add our seed beads. So our seed beads are not our seed beads, our 6mm beads are at an angle like this. So when we add our seed beads, they're going to be going at that same angle, because we're on the right side. So you kind of want to pay attention that you're exiting out of the right side, that the seed beads are also going at that same angle that these beads are going. So now we're going to embellish the top with the 11-0 seed beads, and if you have a bunch of irregular seed beads, you can actually use them to embellish the top, because they're not going to be a problem in this bracelet. These here are actually irregular seed beads. So we're going to pick up 7 seed beads. I got 7 here. 7 seed beads, slide them down. And then my thread's exiting here, so I need my needle to go into this bead here. So it's exiting out the right side, and it's going to go in the left side in the next bead. And that's what's going to make it look like it's twisting. Just like this. Press it down in that crevice, and that's what it looks like. I'm going to pick up 7 again. Here's my 7. Slide it down. It's exiting out of this bead. And now I'm going to go into the next one above it. So it's coming, the string's exiting out the right side, and we're going to go in the left side on the bead in the top. Pull it through, just like this, and pull it tight, and push it down. Again, 7 beads. Slide it down and go in through the next bead on the left side. So now you can see what I mean by that angle, how those orange beads are sitting at an angle, and when you put in the seed beads, it fits perfectly together. So again, 7 seed beads, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you always have to double check, because I can't tell you how many times I thought I picked it up and I picked up one extra. So exiting out of the right side, I'm going to go in the left side, the next bead, and you will have to press the 6mm bead up so you can go through it easier. Just like this, and press it down. Just gonna move this a little bit for you. Again, 7 seed beads. I have 7. Slide it down. I'm gonna push the next bead up and go through it on the left side, just like this. Press those seed beads down into the crevice. Pick up 7 seed beads again. Slide them down. Push the bead up and go through it. Just like this. I'm going to do it a couple more times. 7 seed beads. 4, 5, 6, 7. Slide them down. Push the bead up. Go through it. On the left side. Push those seed beads down. Pick up 7 more. 3, 5, 6. There's my 7. Slide it down and through the next bead. Push it up and go through it. So keep going doing this until you get to the other end of your bracelet. This is my favorite part, decorating the top. It's getting so pretty. I finished embellishing the bracelet and this is what it looks like. And if you want right now, you can go ahead and try it on and make sure it's going to fit you. So what I'm going to do is tie a knot right here. I haven't tied any knots with my thread yet. I'm going to leave that to be the last thing I do. I'm just going to take my cords, put them together, wrap it around my finger like this, then take the ends through this loop here and bring the knot down. And you want the space between the 6mm bead and the knot to be the same as the beginning of the bracelet. So here's my first knot. Now I'm going to do another knot right here. Don't pull it tight though, because we need to make sure our button's going to fit in this. Just like this. Get my button. Put it in the hole. And it's a little big. I'll slide this down some. I'll try it again now. Okay, and it's just right. So now I know that I can pull these knots tight and that the hole is just the right size for my button. So now I'm ready to come back over here to this thread, reinforce it, and then start tying half hitch knots. So this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and like me on Facebook. And don't forget to share pictures of the things you've made from my videos on my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching.